Like as a coach, I always say, try doing something different. Even if it's wrong, just change something. And that usually gets through to the athlete of, okay, the pressure's off. I don't have to do it perfect, but something's got to give. And I can't just do the same thing over and over again. Well, it's good to finally get on the phone with you.
Yeah, it's great talking to you too, Connor. So just as an introduction, I'm Joe Pasco. I'm a student of exercise science at Colby Sawyer College and also a D3 track and field athlete. And here with me today is Connor Munson, D2 athlete ranked eighth nationally in the heptathlon, creator of TF Vision, and most importantly, beloved Dick's Sporting Goods employee. What's up, Connor?
Nothing much. I'm excited to talk to you. Excited to talk about my vision with TF Vision.
Cool.
And
I thought about making that joke, and I was like, no, I don't need to shoehorn that one in.
perfect. Awesome.
Hey,
I like that much better already.
me too. Cool. So, you had mentioned earlier you had taken a gap year. So, are you a sophomore, junior,
I'm a
right?
junior currently.
You're a junior, so you're 20, 21 years old?
I'm 21. Yes, I'm technically a super junior.
Cool. And you're at Edinburgh College, which is in Pennsylvania, correct?
Yes, sir.
Cool, cool. What has been your experience with track and field so far?
So I have been doing track my entire life. I did loads of sports growing up, starting from kindergarten. I started on the 22nd of March, 2010. So it's been 16 years since I started track and field. I actually have a tattoo of that date right there.
Sick.
Of just to keep that anniversary in mind every year. And track is one of the most important parts of my life. I started the multi events in fifth grade and I stuck with that ever since. Fell in love with the pole vault. That became my favorite event pretty quickly. And that's led me to where I am today. I jump 5 meters in the vault, and I'm a Division II All-American, two-time Division II All-American for the multi events. So,
Hell yeah, very cool.
thank
What
you.
what kind of coaching, like what solidified track and field as like the most important thing to you?
Well, I was decent at all of the sports that I did growing up, and I was an athletic kid. I was constantly moving. And in seventh or eighth grade, decided, you know what, if I focus on one sport in particular, I could go from being okay at all of them to being really good at one, and really sort of finding some sort of success. And I like to joke that was my first adult decision of my entire life, is to niche down just to one sport. And yeah, I didn't know it at the time, but because my mother held it pretty close to the vest, that she was an Olympic trials qualifier. She came in sixth at the 92, I think was the year, the 92 Olympic trials. And so I guess it's in my blood. And I chose track because it was the one that I loved the most. So yeah, and here I am. I guess I'm just a product of circumstance.
No, I mean that's very cool. I when I got into track and field, my mom would always tout that she was a sprinter in high school and that I got the genes from her, and it was just one of those funny little things that she would interject into conversations about track and field. Um, what So you took a gap year and you did some coaching. What
Yep.
kind of what has been your experience so far with coaching, and how has that influenced your philosophy of coaching?
Well, I have had a pretty diverse group of athletes that I've worked with in terms of demographics, in terms of body types, in terms of height differences, things like that. When I was an official high school coach during my gap year before sophomore year, I was able to coach up a female vaulter in the outdoor season was 8 weeks. I was able to coach her up from 6'6" in the vault to 8 feet, which was a huge milestone for her, and I was super proud of her. And on the flip side, same team, we had some. I don't want to be disrespectful, but some more less talented athletes, which with proper training they would have been able to become talented. I could see the potential there, but with my lack of time with them, if I had them for 2 or 3 seasons, we might have been able to bring that out. But it was a real challenge because being a first time official coach, I was thrown into the fire a little bit, and we I was entrusted with athletes for vault and vault specifically, and a few events here and there. And it was a really good learning experience because everything that I was teaching them, it reinforced the technique in myself, if that makes sense. So everything that I say to an athlete, it's not something that I wouldn't do myself or I haven't already done. And it it really it's a weird brain thing where the more you try to describe an action, you and the different ways to say it, because everybody responds to coaching cues a little bit differently. It really benefits you as an athlete. So I recommend to anybody who is an athlete at least try to coach somebody else, because it is very reinforcing.
Yeah, I'm curious. Do you think you were more encouraged by your success with the one more talented vaulter, or were you more discouraged by the challenges that were presented by the slightly less talented athletes?
I would say that all of them posed their own unique challenges, and trying to get to know them as an athlete and really figure out my best way of coaching in a broad sense, I would say that that was a great opportunity for me, and I wouldn't say either pulled me in either direction, but I really was able to figure out myself as a coach and as an athlete, really, on how it was a good mindset shift for me, I'd say.
Yeah,
So it was just beneficial across the board.
yeah.
I don't know if that answered your question, but
No, 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 that helps. It makes me think of what you said a second ago, with the more that you try to teach somebody how to do the thing, the better you can integrate it into your own actions.
mhm.
I had a similar experience, and I hadn't thought about it in the realm of motor learning or anything like that. But what I noticed when I was training to be a helicopter technician in the Marine Corps, and I realized that as I was tutoring someone, I was like, oh, all of this stuff, now I know this stuff 10 times better because I need to figure out three different ways to present the same information to this person because they didn't get it the first time and they didn't get it the second time. And I have to like it's just reinforcing and reinforcing the same kind of
Yep.
um, neural pathways, I guess, but in the same when you're trying to come up with ways to cue somebody, you're also inherently visualizing or thinking about the things that you do when
Mhm.
you're trying to put pressure on that bottom arm, or you're trying to get your top hand up to your quad or whatever. Like, that is super helpful. I hadn't made the connection, and that makes a lot of sense now that you say it. And that's cool.
I forget who said it, but there's a quote that says you you only have a mastery over a certain subject if you can put it in its most simple terms so that a beginner could understand, or something like that.
Yes.
And it I think that was the most challenging part, to realize that I needed to I needed to grow, not just try to grow the athletes, but to grow my mindset to really have a mastery over the event.
Right. What was it like your very first experience with pole vaulting? For me, we had some bleachers in the back of our gym, and behind the bleachers there was this little space, and we had a couple of high jump mats, and we had one of those little plastic step up boxes, and basically we would run and plant just on flat floor into this little step up box, and we would jump with high jump standards, and it was just like, it was what we had, but that was what made me so excited about pole vaulting, is
Uh,
like, this is such a cool sport. And it's so, in retrospect, it's so stupid. It doesn't make any sense.
nope.
It doesn't carry over to anything else. There's no other sports like it. So you can't even like say, oh, well, if you want to be a good pole vaulter, start as a gymnast or
Right,
whatever. Like,
right.
that's a good start, but that's the only sport that's like halfway helpful. Nothing else is helpful.
Yep. Man
So,
has no business pole vaulting. I don't know what we're doing over here, but the
so
human
what
race
was,
is just ridiculous for that one.
yeah, for sure. And it made sense historically when they were trying to ford rivers and jump over walls and stuff for battle or whatever, but
Sure.
now it doesn't. So how did how did pole vaulting change your life so significantly that you were like, that is the event of all of the track and field events? I love that one.
So I to go back to, I think, what your original question is. I started out. I was lucky enough to be in an area that had pole vault clubs, pretty
Yeah.
local. So I only had to drive maybe 30 minutes to go to a club, and that's where I met. He's now a family friend. We invite him over for holidays and everything. I met my coach. His name's Andrew Flores. I think he has stopped private coaching now, but he was working for a vault club in New Jersey, where I'm originally from, and he was just so patient with me. He could see that I really wanted it. He was always my biggest supporter. Or I guess my mother. Oh, hold on. My mother was my biggest supporter, but
Yeah.
he was always my second biggest supporter. And he told me from the first month of vaulting, when I was in eighth grade. He told me my first month of vaulting. He said, "You're going to be a 17-foot. You're going to be a 17-foot pole vaulter." And at the time, I didn't believe him, because I mean I was getting over 6-foot bars, right? But now that I'm inching closer to it, I'm at almost 16.6. So 5 meters is like 16.5 ish.
Right.
I I'm starting to see what he saw in me, and yeah, I always loved the athletic component to it, because long jump, super simple. You run, you take off, you land, right? High jump, sort of the same thing, obviously different, but with the vault, there's so much more to it, and you can really get into the nitty gritty and nerd out. There are a lot of nerds in the pole vault community, and I love that. And there's so many variables, so many things that go into it, and really analyzing that has always been super fun for me. And I said in an interview, I think my junior year of high school, that I love the pole vault because it's the closest I'll ever get to being Spider-Man. And I mean that holds true. I love Spider-Man, and it it's it's a feeling like no other. If somebody hasn't experienced it, I mean, there's no real way to describe it to them, unfortunately. But just being able to fling yourself, a story up, and then be able to just relax knowing you got over the bar. There's no feeling like it.
Right. So how do you decide which variables you want to when you're trying to problem solve? What is your thought process of like hierarchy of what needs to be right? Like,
Mm.
step one needs to be good before we can go to step two. Step two needs to be good before we can go to step three. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200.
I would
Like,
really like $200. So if you have it, please send it my way. Um, so my my philosophy for the vault is that everything is sequential, like you just said. If my pushes out of the back of the runway aren't good, it's going to mess up my plant, which is going to mess up everything else. So every jump starts at the back of the runway, having good, powerful pushes, getting to top speed, getting as tall as possible, getting your hands high, plant, takeoff, and everything's from there. So if I see, oh, my swing wasn't as good, yes, it could be the swing, but it could be the takeoff, it could be the plant, it could be the so a lot of times when I have something not going my way, it's usually it's a downstream effect of something that happened prior. So that's my not everybody agrees with me on that, but my philosophy is everything builds on itself. And if if something's wrong, yes, it could be that piece, but it's likely something that happened before it, if that makes sense.
yeah, no, I wholeheartedly agree with that. I was working on trying to put together an idea the other day to encourage people to self-coach a little bit because I think pole vaulting it's very weird. It requires a lot of people like it requires for people to nerd out on the details and everything. So and also most teams don't have enough coaches to go around. They can't just have a pole vault coach.
Right.
And even if they do have a dedicated pole vault coach, which would be a miracle, there's an entirely real possibility that that coach has never been a talented pole vaulter and has never experienced like seen the world through the eyes of a pole vaulter jumping 5 meters. So there's I think an unending need for this self-coaching idea, and ultimately, what needs to happen is you need to be able to look at the vault, identify where exactly it is that things are going wrong, and like you said, do things sequentially. I figure you generate your maximum potential on the runway, and you can only lose potential from there. So if you're not tall on the vault, or if you're not tall on takeoff, if you don't have a nice long swing, you don't hit that C position, you don't hit that chord position, if you bunch up your legs too early, if you don't get your legs all the way up to your quad, if you don't get inverted completely, if you don't stack your shoulders, your hips above your shoulders, if you don't do this, that, every single step of the way, you're losing incremental amounts of your potential energy. And that's just the way that it's really determined by physics, because as soon as you leave the ground, you can't really add a whole lot of energy to the system with
Yes.
the exception of pushing off the top and like swinging through the middle. But I mean, it happens on the runway. So I agree. So with your pole vaulting right now, what are your metrics on that? What's your 60-meter time? What pole are you using? What the flex number, grip, all that stuff?
So I currently my 60, I did it in my heptathlon indoor. Uh I think I ran 7.2,
Okay.
which not the best, but it was a PR, so yay. I ran
That's
that in.
still real
I ran.
good.
Yes, thank you, thank you. I think I ran 7.2, and that was in December of 2025. And right now I am on a 15.7. My main competition pole is a 15.7 180. I think the flex on that is about 17-ish, something like
Yeah.
that.
What's your weight?
I weigh I weigh around 180.
Okay.
Probably more like 175, unfortunately. But I've been trying to gain weight, and I end up losing weight. So, oops. But it I cleared 5 meters with 14.9 with grip while gripping 14.9 on a 15.7. So that was crazy to me that we were able to do that, because that's a more than a 2 foot push off the top of the pole. And the video is on my Instagram if you want to go look at that. But
Yeah, no, I did just watch it a minute ago. What's your what length or how many steps are you coming from?
7 left.
7 lefts, and at how many feet is that? Do you know?
Uh, I I run from around 106. So depending on how I'm feeling, it's usually around that ballpark. So no closer than 105 and 6 inches, and no further than like 107. So
Yeah. Have you made have you made any like leaps and jumps in those kind of measurements in recent years, or has that fairly stabilized?
so my freshman year of college, I was really struggling to transition from the 15-foot poles to the 15.7 poles, and I tried doing that during my gap year. I had some success with it, uh, but I was really only comfortable on the 15 footers, and it must have been a mental thing, because the only thing that really changes is the timing of the plant, because it just falls a little bit faster.
Mhm.
And when I got to Edinburgh, we we just did a lot of reps when I got here, and I my coach is very for vault specifically, he listens to everything that I'm feeling. He gives his 2 cents. We talk back and forth about what we think is best, and I was able to finally stick to the 15.7s, and I'm now competing consistently, not just consistently, but I'm now no longer competing on the 15 footballs at all anymore since I've been at Edinburgh, and I PR'd by, 2 or 3 heights. So
Hell yeah. Sweet. I'm working my way up to 5 meters now, but it's I don't know if you can tell, but I'm a little bit older than college age, and I'm actually a first year student here at Colby Sawyer, so I've got some time to work on it. But in high school, I was a 14.6 jumper, and I just recently broke that PR for the first
awesome.
time in 15 years.
And when was that? When did you break that PR?
Like a month ago.
Oh, congrats! Hell
Yeah,
yeah!
thanks. Yeah, yeah, and I mean a lot of what I need to do now, I recognize, is that I actually have to backtrack a little bit because I'm getting my bottom arm is just not like I'm not able to keep pressure
Right.
on that bottom arm. It's just collapsing, and as soon as I get when I'm on smaller poles, it's fine. I can manage it and I can think about all those things and make it happen. But when I transition to the bigger poles, they're just scary
Mhm.
enough that you go right back to the thing that you're used to doing. So I just have to rewire that in my brain, which is like it's hard. I'm not sure. Have you run into that before where you're like,
Yes.
I know I do this thing. I've done it 1,000 times and now I have to do it different. Let's
Yep. I I always I always say, because I during my freshman year, I had this mindset where, you know what, even if something goes wrong, I'm just gonna attack it, and I'm gonna jump up, finish the jump no matter what happens. But I had a recurring hamstring injury because I was taking off wrong and I was reaching at takeoff. And so I sort of let go of my, what I call the F it we ball attitude. And I was finally able to pick that back up again around this time last year. And it was because last year I broke a pole. And so it required reconstructive surgery on my finger because I shattered my finger.
Oh my God.
And that took a lot to come back from mentally. And so right around this time last year, I just said, you know what? Let's get back to that F it we ball. And I took off and PR. And it's sometimes it's easy to say, but sometimes it is as easy as saying, you know what? No matter the consequences, I'm just going to take off and rip it. And sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But I mean, one of my biggest frustrations as a coach, not an athlete, but as a coach, is an athlete's unwillingness to change. So you can shout a cue at them 50 different ways, and they can say, okay. But it's ultimately the athlete's decision to make that change. And with very successful athletes, you see, if you make a cue, there is some sort of change in the next jump, whether it's right or wrong. Like as a coach, I always say, try doing something different. Even if it's wrong, just change something. And that usually gets through to the athlete of, okay, the pressure's off. I don't have to do it perfect, but something's got to give. And I can't just do the same thing over and over again, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. I like that. Literally just do anything different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So on the subject of the app, what made you decide that this was the direction that you wanted to go with trying to use AI to assist in coaching athletes?
Mm-hmm. Well, I am deep on the AI and tech space on the internet, and that's essentially all I watch. That and like now all I see is Alex Hormozy and his business podcasts. And so I do have a deep understanding of all of this emerging technology, and I've gotten into arguments with my professors saying, why do I need to learn this if this is the future? And so we've gone back and forth on that. But I do want to clarify something that a lot of people are mistaking right now. And because some people on my team, when they've asked me about it, their question is, well, why can't I just send my video to ChatGPT and ask it to review me? And my answer to that is, in my software, the AI never actually touches the video itself. So it doesn't have to look for anything. It doesn't have to do anything like that. But my program finds where you are in the jump and gets all of your biomechanical data. And from that data, the AI interprets it and gives you feedback. So I just wanted to, hopefully more people, a lot of people see this and can get some clarity on that. But I think that this can be a tool for so many people, and especially when we expand to other events, not just the pole vault. I think that both athletes and coaches will be able to utilize this, and it's something that I would want to use myself, both as an athlete and a coach. Me and my team made a joke a couple weeks ago about the app when I was trying to come up with a name for it. And with small coaching staffs at meets specifically, the coach can't be everywhere at once. So we were going to name it Where's Coach? And just and kind of play into the joke, but
Yeah.
I do think that if I have somebody, I'll say somebody, if I have somebody who's not my coach showing me what I'm doing correctly and what I'm doing incorrectly and giving me a coaching cue, then that would be super beneficial to me as an athlete, since my coach might be over the throws or watching the sprinters or something like that. So this app is sort of to help with that. It's not supposed to replace in-person coaching. That there's the disclaimer, because Vault is dangerous, but I do think this can be a very good tool.
Yeah, I agree, and back to to harken back to the idea of the need for self-coaching. It just it just is what it is. We only have so many coaches, we only have so much budget, and our coaches only have so much time, and they have so many athletes. So how can we possibly expect our coaches to be able to watch our every move and process it and give us feedback on it? And they're also watching it through regular human eyes, and they can't stop motion, they can't check metric, like, relative distances, and they can't measure things and do this and that. They can't run it back and forwards and this and that. And the I think I had a similar idea to what it is that you're working on now a couple of years ago, and I was like, man, this would be so helpful for people who need it. And not everybody needs it, but the people who need it, they just need it.
They do. Yeah. Yeah.
So how is the process of developing an app been?
Well, it's developing it has been very fun. It's been very frustrating. It's really challenged me as a software engineer and a software architect, especially since this is only the second or third software I've made, and the other two were garbage. So I think I'm putting a lot of effort into it, and I'm making sure that it is fully functional and giving good feedback before we launch, just so that everybody's first experience can be good for the app. Um, and I don't want to put anybody's safety at risk. So we're really locking down the all the detection criteria, all of the feedback, all of the just kind of everything. And I would say, apart from the development of the app itself, my biggest struggle right now is the business side of things. So I am actually talking with I'm talking with UCS, specifically UCS Spirit, and I got off the phone with Chris Chappelle yesterday, who is the son of the founder, and he's the general manager of UCS Spirit, and he wants to partner with TFVision and my company, and so hopefully with their help we can get this out faster and more accurate with how everything is detected and all of the feedback that it's giving us. So yeah, things are looking really, really good, especially since the pole vault company and the track company wants to power the project.
The development of this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's very, very cool. Yeah, I'm a little bit envious, and at the same time I'm like, I can't do everything. And it's so cool. It's great when someone else has your idea and they're able to run with it, and especially when you can get the support. And I mean, you're clearly a talented guy, and you have
Thank you.
the background in software engineering. Is that your degree?
Yeah, I am a computer science major. Yes.
Okay, yeah. So you're a lot better off. It's better off in your hands than mine. Um, Man, it's so cool. I hope at some point when you get the beta version launched that I could give it a try as well. But
Absolutely. I'll send you an email.
yeah, I'm super stoked that you're able to do this and that you're making it happen and that you've got all of this other stuff going on with, I mean, the heptathlon. That's awesome. I mean, there's an entirely real chance that at some point you and I get to pole vault together, which would be super cool.
That would be
But
awesome. Yeah.
yeah, man, I think we're coming up on our 40 minutes here, but I really wanted to thank you for hopping on the phone with me and just chatting about this
Thank
idea,
you.
this project, because it's so exciting. And
Appreciate it.
hopefully at some point, hopefully at some point we can hop on the phone again and maybe get an update or two. But yeah, I am hoping that, getting some documentation and putting this on out there and everything gets some more attention on it and hopefully gets you some more support and helps everyone understand what exactly it is that TF Vision is doing and where it's going and all of its capabilities. So thank you so much for hopping on the phone with me, man. I'm very
Yeah.
excited to hear
Thank you
about
for
all
taking
the
the time.
progress and everything. Cool. All right. It was good chatting with you, Connor. Is there anything else you want to highlight? Anything else you got going on?
No, other than just TF Vision is going to be moving fast, so everybody should check their Instagram, check their emails if you're on the wait list, and we're going to expand to other events soon, and it will hopefully in the next year become the hub for track and field analytics across the board.
Yeah, that would be super cool, man. Well, you've got my support, and I wish you very, very much luck.
I
I'll
appreciate it. Thank you.
talk to you later.
Yeah, have a good one.
You too. Bye.